Hey everybody, I'm Joshua Orro, the Mustang Prince, and welcome to Mustang Prince Orro Reports. Well folks, now that I've gotten my Mother's Day, Cinco de Mayo, and Ray Harryhausen tribute blogs off my plate, I think it's time to look at another mermaid-related movie. Now for those of you who have not been following me lately, some of my favorite mermaid films that I've looked at include Hayao Miyazaki's Ponyo, Scales, Mermaids Are Real, and of course, Disney's The Little Mermaid trilogy, which will be getting a remake next year. And thanks to a request from Jonathan Cohen, aka Jay's Watch, I'd like to look at a mermaid movie from the mid-2000s that I'm not sure if many folks talk about these days. So, let's get started. Released on March 3rd, 2006, the movie is Aquamarine. Now, on for the plot of the movie. The film centers on two teenage girls named Claire and Haley who live in the small beach town of Bay Bridge, Florida. One night, after a fierce storm, the girls meet a sassy mermaid named Aquamarine who gets washed up in the beach club's swimming pool after swimming away from home. Aquamarine is determined to prove to her father that real love exists, and she enlists the girl's help in winning the heart of a handsome lifeguard in exchange for a wish. Now, what are my thoughts on the movie anyway? Well, to me, I find this to be a very lighthearted, charming, and nowadays, an underrated mermaid movie. And of course, I enjoy it. And to further explain why I like it, let's move on to Mustang notes. Now, firstly, the movie is loosely based on the 2001 book of the same name by Alice Hoffman. And just so you know, I've never actually read the book yet, but I should give it a read if I can find it at my local bookstore or on Amazon if possible. Plus, the movie was directed by Elizabeth Ann Rosenbaum, who'd later direct Ramona and Beezus and the upcoming Sneakerella, which should be streaming on Disney Plus starting today. Another thing to note is that principal photography for the film began in Talabagera Beach in Australia in February 2005 and wrapped up the following April. Plus, since its release, Aquamarine has become a cult film and it is especially popular among Generation Z. It has also been ranked as one of the best mermaid movies by USA Today and Teen Vogue. Now, in my opinion, the setting in Bay Bridge, Florida looks really beautiful, and it kind of brings back memories from the time when me and my family went to a Floridian beach back during our vacation in summer 1998. And I'll never forget that very day when my sister, whom was 2 years old at the time, stepped on a jellyfish. Shocking, huh? Also, not only do I think this mermaid movie is lighthearted, charming, and underrated, but I also think it makes a cute love story and a fun summer movie. Plus, I think the weather effects are pretty clever due to them being done by time lapses, even though it can be pretty dated to today's standards, especially with how the waves and water are choreographed. But maybe that's just me. Also, I really love some of the soundtrack choices that are played throughout the movie, and to me, some of them bring back fond memories from the 2000s. And that's basically all I got for Mustang notes, so let's move on to the cast. The title character, Aquamarine, is played by Sarah Paxton, whom I remember from R.L. Stine's Haunted Lighthouse, Sleepover, Sydney White, and Shark Night. To me, Aqua is a kind, gorgeous, creative, bubbly, and a very confident mermaid. Plus, she's determined to prove to her father that love really exists. Otherwise, she'll be forced to marry some spoiled, shallow merman. Also, I think Aqua is the best mermaid friend that anyone, man or fish, could ever have. And I really love her light blue streaks in her hair. Also, fun fact, it took about 2 people 1 whole week to put the scales on each of Sarah Paxton's tails. Next we come to Aquamarine's new friends, Claire Brown and Haley Rogers, played by Emma Roberts and JoJo. In my opinion, these two girls are wonderful BFFs, and they are sweet supporting characters, like when they help Aquamarine get together with Raymond. Also, I think they both have nice character development. For example, Haley is an outgoing tomboy who loves to scuba dive. Also, during this movie, her family is planning to move to Australia, and Haley hopes to use her wish to prevent them from moving away. But in the end, she realizes that her mom really wants to move to Australia just for a job as a marine biologist. Claire, on the other hand, is shy and reserved. Plus, her reason for being aquaphobic because of her biological parents' death makes her very sympathetic. By the way, aside from the girls playing matchmaker to Aquamarine and Raymond, my favorite part of the film that they're involved in is the scene where they convince Aquamarine's father of True Love's existence with the power of their friendship. Our next character is Raymond, a young lifeguard played by Jake McDormand, whom I remember from Bring It On, All or Nothing. To me, Raymond seems like a kind and an easygoing guy to be with. Also, being a lifeguard may mean that he likes to help people in times of trouble. Also to note, Raymond's dad wants him to start college, but he wants to take a year off to travel. Speaking of which, one place that Raymond really wants to go to in his future is Fiji. Next up is Cecilia Banks, played by Ariel Kebbel, whom I remember from John Tucker Must Die. Cecilia is best described as a spoiled brat. She's very popular and rich because her dad is a rich meteorologist. Also, Cecilia is selfish, and she has a very rude and a conniving personality. And she treats Haley and Claire like babies, and she's very jealous of Aquamarine's relationship with Raymond. Plus, she's awfully concerned about her car. Thankfully, by the end of the movie, Cecilia gets her comeuppance by making a total fool of herself for trying to expose Aquamarine's identity as a mermaid. Another character to talk about is Leonard, the caretaker at the beach club, played by Bruce Spence, best known from Inspector Gadget 2, Pixar's Finding Nemo, The Chronicles of Narnia 3, and Pirates of the Caribbean 5. In my opinion, he seems a bit weird and eccentric. However, underneath all that, Leonard is just a lonely old man looking for a friend, and he finds that friend in Aquamarine after saving her from the water tower after Cecilia unhooks the ladder to prevent her from getting down. As the film progresses, Leonard is shown to be a charismatic and friendly old man, and a bit of a hopeless romantic, due to him having romantic feelings for his co-worker Bonnie for the longest time. And now let's move on to my final words. Overall, Aquamarine is a really charming and a fun mermaid movie to watch, especially during Mermaid. The cinematography is pretty good, the effects are decent for 2000 standards, the story is sweet, romantic, and funny at times, the main characters, Haley and Claire, are sweet best friends and decent matchmakers, Aquamarine is a lovely mermaid and a wonderful person to be with, Raymond is a well-prepared and a brave lifeguard, and Cecilia, well, is a real spoiled rotten brat. To me, this is a mermaid movie that I highly recommend for all families, especially if some of you have not seen it yet these days. Trust me, you'll laugh, smile, even cry in happiness. And as for my rating, I'll give it a 96% out of 100. Well, that's all for now. Be sure to join me for my next blog, Mustang Power.